What's up, guys? This video is about the Motorola One 5G Ace versus the Apple iPhone XR. Let's go ahead and get started. So the 5G Ace from Motorola was released in January 2021, and the iPhone XR was released in September of 2018. So 3 years separate these devices. The 5G Ace is obviously a 5G phone, while the iPhone XR is only an LTE 4G device. Price-wise, both of these are value devices here in 2021. You can get them for very low prices. The One 5G Ace could be had for under $300 unlocked, or you can go the prepaid route and get this phone for only $30 on Metro here in the US. The iPhone XR, when it was first launched, it was launched for around $750 when it was launched. Then now in 2021, you could still get this phone from Apple fully unlocked at $500, but you could also find it prepaid for as low as $250 on Cricket, for example. And you can get it the same price used on other websites such as Swappa, for example. So these are two value-driven devices. To put these prices into perspective, a super flagship device is hovering around $1,000 if you want the best of the best, or around $800 if you want a go-to flagship device that's not in the ultra premium category of $1,000 or $1,100. So these devices can be had for as low as $30, $300, $250, $500. So these are very value-driven devices. Overall size, the 5G Ace is 6.5 inches tall, 3 inches wide, 0.4 inches thick. iPhone XR, almost 6 inches tall, 3 inches wide, 0.33 inches thick. So the overall bigger device is the Motorola One 5G Ace. It is also heavier. It weighs 7.48 ounces, while the iPhone XR is 6.8 ounces. For the build quality, the Moto One 5G Ace is a mostly plastic built device. The XR has a glass front, glass back aluminum frame, so more premium feeling on the iPhone XR. A bonus on the XR is that it has an eSIM, which means you could activate this device without needing a physical SIM card. You could do it straight from the phone. It also serves as a secondary SIM where you can have two different phone numbers, two different data plans on the same device. Another bonus for the XR, it has IP67 dust and water resistance. You can dunk this phone up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. The Motorola does not have that, just has water repellent coating. Now moving on to the displays, the Moto 5G Ace has a massive 6.7-inch display. iPhone XR has a little bit subdued device size screen at 6.1 inches. You have 85% screen to body ratio on the Motorola. The iPhone has around 79% screen to body ratio. The type of display in the Motorola is an IPS LCD display. iPhone XR is liquid retina IPS LCD. Both of these have around the refresh rate around 60 Hertz. For the resolution, they are kind of similar. You have a 1080p display full HD on the Motorola, while the iPhone XR has a resolution of 828 by 1792. When you break these phone screens down to PPI, you get 393 PPI on the Motorola 5G Ace. You get 326 PPI on the iPhone XR. So you get a better resolution screen on the Motorola. For the software, the Motorola One has a kind of stock version of Android 10, while the iPhone XR has iOS 14, but it launched with iOS 12. Now for the upgrade cycle on the software, you're going to get several years on the iPhone XR. You're probably not going to get a lot of updates on the Motorola One 5G Ace, if any. Maybe you get one or two if you're super lucky. We don't know yet. The software also is going to give you different things on these on iOS versus Android. You got on the Apple side, you're going to get extras like iMessage, FaceTime, iMovie, AirDrop, stuff like that. That's only found on iOS devices. You do have some gestures on the Motorola One 5G Ace, such as the chop motion, which will light up the torch or the flashlight. And then if you flick your wrist around, you could do you could switch between the front and the back camera. So you got a lot of customizable features on Android 10, on Android in general. You could customize it. It's a lot more fun. And you do get Motorola uses a stock Android feel, so it's very lightweight, it's very fluid, it's not a very heavy skin. One other thing that I wanted to mention is that pretty much every iPhone that's been released, including this iPhone XR, has the ability with HDMI compatibles. If you have the adapter, it varies by price, but they're all gonna be under $50. I use it a lot myself, is where you connect it to your phone and then it connects to HDMI, so it's HDMI compatible on every iPhone. So that's a very nifty feature if you want to watch movies and stuff like that directly from your iPhone to the TV. Android, it's hit or miss. I know Samsung has it, and I think Google Pixels have it, but I'm not sure. It's very hit or miss, but it's safe to say you could do that on the iPhone, any iPhone pretty much. Also, don't worry about the most popular apps. They're gonna run and download just fine on both of these phones, such as YouTube, Snapchat, WhatsApp, all your music apps, Spotify, Pandora, all your major games are gonna be found on both of these ecosystems, so you won't be missing by picking either of these up. Now for the chipset, you got the Snapdragon 750 on the Motorola, you got the Apple A12 Bionic on the iPhone XR. Both of these are quality chipsets. I say the more powerful one is going to be on the iPhone XR, the A12 Bionic. It's very snappy even in 2021, and it'll continue to be very good for several more years. Now the Motorola One is pretty fast in its own right, but I could definitely see it being slowed down faster than the iPhone XRs, but most apps will run perfectly fine and snappy on both of these devices. Next, we're moving to the storage. Now, there's two models on the Motorola One. You can get one in 64 gigs or one in 128 gigs. Most models are being sold at 128 gigs, which is pretty good. The iPhone XR starts off at 64 gigs. So depending which model you get, you're gonna get more storage on the Motorola One. The one that I saw that had 64 gigs was listed on AT&T prepaid, but who knows if it's really true. But I would suggest and do your research, and hopefully you get the 128 gig model. Also, because it comes with either 4 gigs or 6 gigs of RAM, the iPhone XR has 3 gigs of RAM. Both of these amounts of RAM, 4 or 6 for the Motorola, should be fine for most people, hold a lot of apps in the background. 3 gigs is more than enough for the iPhone to handle. You'll be able to handle many apps in the background, no problem as well. Bonus on the Motorola that you get a micro SD card, so you could expand storage significantly on the cheap. You got a triple camera system on the Motorola, 48 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel macro. iPhone XR has one single 12 megapixel camera on the back, but both of these phones record in 4K. You'll be happy with video and pictures on both of these devices, but I would have to lean more on the iPhone XR having better quality overall. Selfie camera, Motorola has a 16 megapixel shooter, iPhone XR 7 megapixel shooter. Both of these phones' selfie cameras shoot video in 1080p, which is not too bad, but it's not the best either. Bonus on the Motorola for having a headphone jack. iPhone XR does not have when you need a dongle. That's good. Having a headphone jack for the Motorola, if you want to connect your headphones, your mic, or hook it up to your car via aux cord to listen to music. Now for connecting your wireless devices to these phones, you got Bluetooth 5.1 on the Motorola, 5.0 on the XR. Both ways are reliable Bluetooth ways to connect your wearables, such as your smartwatch, your headphones, your smart band, or your speakers. Both of these will connect just fine to those devices. NFC is found on both of these phones, and that's mostly used for payment services. For the charging port, you got USB Type-C on the Motorola, Lightning port on the iPhone XR. Out of these two ports, the USB Type-C is found on more devices, such as Chromebooks, MacBooks, Windows PCs, iPads, and other Android tablets. Unlocking and security, the Motorola uses a rear fingerprint mount reader, while the iPhone XR uses Face ID. Both ways are reliable ways to open up your device. Now for the battery, the Motorola One has a massive 5,000 milliamp battery. iPhone XR has a close to 3,000 milliamp battery. I have to say that I'm impressed by both of the batteries on these devices. Battery life will be good on both of these phones. Android tends to need a bigger battery than the iPhone, and I believe 5,000 milliamps for a 5G phone is the perfect sweet spot. So a big win for the Motorola One. It'll last you all day and then some. iPhone XR will make it through the whole day. 3,000 milliamps is very good for an iPhone. iOS utilizes battery very efficiently. Both of these offer fast charging as well. 15 watts on the Motorola, 15 watts on the iPhone XR. Charge about 50% in 30 minutes, and you also get wireless charging on the iPhone XR. Motorola One does not have that. But what are my thoughts in comparing these devices, going through all the specs? Well, you can't go wrong with either of these devices. It all depends on which ecosystem you want to use. Both of these phones have good battery life, they have good camera systems. The Motorola One has a stock version of Android almost. It has a few gestures up its sleeve. The iPhone XR has the ecosystem behind it. You have iMessage, FaceTime, iMovie, AirDrop, all that stuff, and also connected with HDMI. So there's a lot going for the iPhone XR. You get a lot of reliable updates. You're not getting a lot of updates on the Motorola One. You got expandable storage and the headphone jack on the Motorola One, which is awesome. Just be careful of which model you get, because either you get 64 gigs with 4 gigs of RAM or 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM. If you get the 128, that's a big win. It doubles the storage of the iPhone XR. Now, with that being said, price-wise, they're both good values. If you could get the Motorola One for 30 bucks on Metro, I'd suggest going that route. And if you get the iPhone XR for 250, that's a good deal as well. Both of these devices can compete with flagship level $1,000 phones, no problem. You won't be disappointed by either of these. But if you really care about battery and expandable storage and stuff like that, roll with the Motorola One and the headphone jack. If you care about the ecosystem and straight up good updates, pick up the iPhone XR. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.